All right, everyone, and welcome to Ready, Set, Rise. My name is Michael Ciervo. I'm your host here for the day. And, you know, if you guys are here watching from the internet, a podcast, YouTube, thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedules just to be here with us today. Now, RISE stands for Real Individuals Sharing Excellence, and I'm really excited that we have an amazing guest for our very first show, my good friend, Mr. Donny Wong. Now, if you don't know Donny is a sales professional. He's been a personal performance trainer who's trained over 1,000 individuals, and he's generated over $37 million of revenue in this process. And he spent roughly half of his life in sales. So here's you got a guy who could speak. He has a gift of gab. Now his mission here is to refine the peak performance of lifestyle, and he's starting this with his company Boost. We're going to hear more about this in our interview here, which is a supplement brand utilizing CBD for performance and recovery. Donny, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on the inaugural show.
You know what? Oftentimes you just want to have someone who's going to kickstart it and just have this amazing energy. And I've had you on a show before at a different one. We've co-hosted a show before. But for those people who don't know you, maybe tell the internet, tell the world just a little bit about yourself. Talk about your story.
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? My name is Donny Wong. You're going to catch me on any social media platform. That's at Taking Lunch. Maybe we'll spell it out for you later, because the important parts really is been an entrepreneur for over half of my life now, all of it within a sales role. And so I've been through every up and down, first generation immigrant. So got the most ultimate advantage of having a traditional Chinese family while being Canadian. We'll get digging deep into that. How that all wraps up is that been in business, went through the highs and lows, went through the corporate, did door-to-door sales, trained, over 1,000 different people there. We had a lot of success there. And then when I was done with that organization, I said, you know what? It's time to go back to my dream, which is to build and sell businesses. That's kind of what I've always wanted to do. And from that idea, that's kind of launchpad me on all my decisions from, since I was 18 years old.
That's amazing. So you started as an entrepreneur at 18?
Pretty much. 18 was when I started, just wanted to do business on my own. So the whole thing was after high school, I said, you know what? I just want to be a billionaire when I was 18 years old. I was like, you know what? The coolest shit. I want to be a billionaire. But when I looked at it, I was like, the only people that are billionaires at that time were, as I thought, athletes. They're not billionaires, but people with substantial wealth. And I said, okay, I'm not going to be an actor. I don't have the face for acting or modeling, so that's out. Okay, I'm not going to be an athlete. I'm short, I'm fast, but I'm not going to have any sort of crazy pro contracts. But when I looked at pretty much anyone who's doing something that could lead to wealth, I said, you know what? Business. Because the people who are making massive wealth are people who build and sell businesses. I can do that. I can do that. That's the most even playing field. So from 18, I was like, okay, screw college, because none of these guys have built and sell businesses. I need to just build a business and just go from there. We'll figure it out as we go.
It's interesting because building a business is not that, there's no certainty in it. And it's interesting because you talked about your Chinese culture. I'm Filipino, and the Asian culture wants a little bit of certainty. Like in my culture, they say, hey, you should be a nurse or you should be an accountant or something with some type of certainty. So what possesses you to go into this world of permanent uncertainty? I know there's that idea of you want to become a billionaire, but it's so far-fetched. Like, was there a point in time in your life when you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Well, you're absolutely right. What would drive someone to go to the hardest sport in the entire planet, which is entrepreneurship, right? It's the MMA of the work world, where you could go to any company and strive, be excellent by just doing one role, but no. Let's not learn boxing and be incredible at that. Now we have to use every single limb, every single tactic known in the business acumen, and you're completely underfunded, underhanded, undermanned, taking on the entire planet. Why would somebody do that? I think we could roll it back to what you said before was my Asian heritage. And it's really having the advantage of being raised in a first-generation Asian household where Asians are strict. They're very, very, very strict, but it's a different dynamic when you're an Asian family, because you don't realize this when you're young. You realize this when you're into your 30s, when you really appreciate life on a different scale, a different level, different lens, when you can appreciate what your parents truly have done for you, which all kids go through. But when you're a first-generation immigrant and you take that step back, and it's the moment you realize, holy, can we swear on the show?
Absolutely.
Fuck, mom and dad left Hong Kong, in my case, and took I'm sure they took a plane. It wasn't a boat. That's just, that's stereotypes. Took a plane into a country where they have no network, no family. They don't know the language, the customs, the holidays, because they knew that 50 years from now, Hong Kong's going to go back to China and it's going to be communist. So the only way we're going to have our kids grow up in with the most opportunity is to move to Canada. Once that dawns on you, everything changes and you don't take anything for granted. Now that's 30. Now I'm 36. That's 36 years later. When I'm 18, it's all from the childhood, and it's all from the hyper strict disciplinarian father that we had. But at the same time, it's the customs of the Chinese tradition, and the Chinese tradition is all about discipline, respect, never dishonoring your family, doing diligent work, and a lot of our customs, our heritage, no, more of our customs is about fortune and wealth, right? Chinese New Year, which if you don't know, if the audience out there isn't familiar, we give red pockets. The red pockets are full of money. Most people may know that, but Gong Hei Fa Choi, which is, it doesn't mean Happy New Year. It means we wish you a prosperous and lucky year. I wish you make the most money this year than any other year before. That's built into our DNA of Chinese people.
That's insane that it's not even, hey, Happy New Year's. It's like, I wish you the most money and I hope you wish me more money so we could both have all this money.
That's right.
And it's interesting because you could go anywhere in the world and there's a Chinatown.
That's right.
Anywhere in the world is a Chinatown.
That's right.
And there's something about the Chinese culture that makes you so resourceful, I would say. You don't necessarily need to know how to speak the language, but you just certainly become successful in the country where you land.
Absolutely.
Right? And with that said, like, is there anything else in that culture do you find that makes you very different and I guess sets you up perfectly for being an entrepreneur?
I would say I can't speak for them all because I think the Asian stereotype is, hey, be a lawyer, be a doctor. Whereas my father was an entrepreneur. So he came, and I don't remember his work in my early life. It only made sense of it as I was older. He worked in a textiles factory. But from my earliest child memoryhood, he started a photography studio. So I grew up in the darkroom. So for the audience, the newer audience, before digital photography where everything was instant, film had to be developed in a room that was completely dark. And the only thing in the room would be glow-in-the-dark stickers and maybe a red light that he could turn on at certain times.
Right.
Because paper had to be developed, which means that they would actually paint the picture with light. And they'd cover parts of this piece of paper with their hand, letting the paper be exposed by light, controlling it with their hand, which controls the exposure, which now we just slide a little thing. Right. So I grew up in the darkroom and I watched my dad run a business, not understanding that what he was doing, but later in life understanding, absorbing the artistry behind it. My father passed away earlier this year, and I've been an entrepreneur now for 18 years. What was so impactful was when I got his annual returns every single year. And I actually got to do the financials and walk through all his books. And I got to see how he ran his business. I know my father as my father. We didn't have a great relationship. It was kind of more based on respect. And we'll get into that later if we get into that part. But to see his financials in his company, to see the legacy and see his work, that was a totally different part of our relationship that we couldn't even share, but it was a completely different part of our respect, our level of respect. And to tell you the truth, I never thought of it till we're voicing it now. But that really gave us it's like a story. It was like he wasn't a writer, but if this was his book, I read the story to his business. And it was so insightful and so inspiring.
That's amazing because, the entrepreneurial world can be exceptionally lonely. So now you think about your dad who's sitting in this dark room, this red room, all by himself, creating his art. His wife, his kids have no idea what he's doing there. He could be doing whatever because you can't open the door because you're gonna ruin the artwork, right?
You'll get whooped something fierce if you do that.
So you think to yourself, as an entrepreneur, how lonely he must have been during that time, right? And that's no different how entrepreneurs are now.
Without a doubt.
It is a lonely world. You know this better than most people. I know this as an entrepreneur as well. Now, in this loneliness, do you find that there are moments where you're like, I'm okay? Or do you find, actually, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a place of this loneliness where you start to think, how did I get myself in there?
I've never been in the place. That's such a good question because it's so relevant to the entrepreneurial journey. I don't think I've ever faced that. Like, what have I done to myself? No, once ever, but never in despair. More of, I think I was blessed with a gene of positivity. We've had a discussion before where what's your superpower? You said empathy.
Right.
Well, mine is positivity, where I'll never be down on anything. You can put me in the worst situation, and I'll be, we'll get out of this. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. No matter what, we'll figure it out. For pessimists, they hate me. It's so annoying to be around me because like everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. But it has a part to do with also the grit of being a first generation immigrant, of having a disciplinary father, of having those foundations woven into your personality when you're young. Couple that with ultimate positivity, and now you're just born to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
So have I ever been in the part where it's like, hey, I don't know what I've gotten myself into? Never. Have I ever been to a part where I was lonely as fuck? That's the entrepreneurial journey all the way.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually part of the hero's journey. We talk about this, and most entrepreneurs know about this hero's journey. It's where you have this turning point where you have to make this decision. But the interesting thing, going back to what you said about your dad, you saw his legacy, right? Mm-hmm. Part of the hero's journey is coming back, telling people exactly what you learned, right? So let me just spend a little bit of time on your dad here, because I find this very interesting that you saw his legacy.
That's right.
How would you describe that legacy in today's terms? Not the financial side of it, but in today's terms, just seeing all of that.
It's the American dream.
Yeah, okay.
It's the American dream wrapped up with financial literacy. And I never understood any of this. I've been striving for it my whole life. I've been battling it for my whole life. I made terrible decisions when I was young, which put me in a very bad financial hole for the first decade of my adult life. But what snapped me out of a lot of it, what got me very serious, was not just the death of my father. That was one thing. But it was when we saw it was two things. It was one conversation him and I had. By the time I was 33, when I first moved back from Calgary, my sister actually passed away on the first year. It wasn't tragic whatsoever. She lived an incredible life, just incredible life, inspiring life. But it was the first time my dad and me, we were in the ER that night, and he was sharing a story. He doesn't share many stories, unless my girlfriend's around. It just opens up to her. But he shared this one story with me, and it just explained everything to do with him, which was, he said, he was explaining to me the Chinese way. So I hate to be long-winded, but it's going to actually answer the first 15 minutes, which he said, a lot of Westerners think that the way we raise children is cruel. But in the Chinese way, we don't raise weak children. We'll call it as it is. We'll discipline our kids. We don't let weakness, we don't let excuses. That's the Chinese way. We'll never raise weak children. And I remember thinking about that. And it is very, some could call it dogma, right? But at that moment, for the first time in my life, I said, I get you. Right. I completely get what you're talking about. 3 years after that, now I'm 36, and I just realized how resilient, how positive, how I have that undying grit. And even though, like I said earlier, my father and I never had a good relationship, because when you discipline your kids that fierce, you fracture the relationship. They're scared of you. But what happened was 36 years later, I was like, holy shit, he fucking did it. He raised me and I wasn't afraid of anything. I could take anything on in life. And now I thank him for that. The relationship was the cost for that, but he hit his mission. So that was the first part of my father where I was like, man, fuck, good job, dude. Yeah. Damn, you did it. The second part was the financial lessons I learned. When his story at the same night, he told me how him and my mom immigrated to Canada. Clusterfuck. Complete clusterfuck, and a complete roll of the dice chance that he was sitting at this, they weren't going to get in Canada, and he was sitting at this office, and it just so happened that one guy out of the only human on earth that could have saved him walked into the door and recognized him, said, Albert, what are you doing? He used to be an old client that he used to take out because he knew English in Hong Kong. That chance, that one little smidgen of an opportunity, walked in, said, I'll write the letter for you, got them over here. He made it over here, got his family settled, had to move back to Hong Kong to finish up the whatever. And he said, I landed back in Canada with $800 in my pocket.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, dude, That is like the immigrant story. Fast forward 36 years, now we're taking care of his estate, right? You know, bless his soul. Love you, Dad. But I'm taking care of the estate, and I see what he left for Mom. And, you know, it's good. Mom's going to be taken care of. She's not going to be in any trouble. And it was the first time in my life. I've heard about these words for so long. You're in this business, so you protect your clients with this. Generational wealth. Mm-hmm. He passed down generational wealth. A first-generation immigrant that risked it all, did all the right things, the hardest things in life, stuck to his roots and executed on what he knew was right, by what he thought was right. And man, he did it. He passed on generational wealth. And the first time I saw, because we didn't know, it was all in secret. Again, he's a traditional Asian father. You don't know shit about what he's doing. But when we went through the financials and we saw what was left, I was like, holy shit, this is generational wealth. And that's what changed everything in the entrepreneurial game. When before it was all about, you know, at first you want to get rich when you're a kid.
Right.
Then you want to solve a big problem. Then you want to build probably a culture if you're on the right entrepreneurial path. Then you want to use that culture to compete at the highest level. Then you probably want to dominate some sort of industry, maybe some sort of exit. But the final one is always generational wealth / legacy. If we're going to just stick in finances. Mm-hmm. Generational wealth means that you've accomplished a feat where now your next of kin have an advantage, have a major advantage. Whereas if you don't own property, if you don't pass down any sort of assets, any sort of finances, they start from zero. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw that generational wealth, it's like when Gohan figured out Super Saiyan 2 and just eradicate Cell. Right. It's like that last episode. It was that impactful where I was like, holy shit, this is what you're playing for if you're going to be talking about finances.
And I think you completely nailed it when we talk about legacy. It is, you want something that's going to live many, many years after you're long gone, whether it's a book, whether it's lessons. In many of the Asian cultures, it's going to be money, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's wonderful that your dad was able to leave this lesson or leave that legacy behind. You know, we're going to transition to the next phase. But what I want to ask you is, like, if you could tell your dad something today, if he was listening, somehow this podcast gets up to heaven, what would you tell him?
You did it. You did it. I understand, and you did it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you didn't do perfect. We talked about this, but I get what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's powerful, right? Really powerful. Actually, you know what? I know that you like beer. Mm-hmm. There's one thing you told me. You had 1 beer a day, right? And I had no idea that you're going to actually go into this whole Chinese. I had no idea we were going to be talking about this Chinese culture, which is really good.
Just going with it.
So I got you a beer. So Chinese beer here.
Tao.
Because New Year's is just around the corner. And I figured we'd crack open a beer as we transition into the next phase. Actually, you know, when we go into where we're going to be moving forward. Here we go. Is that Pop Top?
Do you have the same thing? Here, can I trade you? Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you. The Heineken of Hong Kong.
Have you been back to Hong Kong?
Not since I was 18.
Oh no way! Right. You know, going back to this whole entrepreneurial journey, it's amazing because it is a culture. It's not just the Chinese culture, but there's so many people who are part of this entrepreneurial journey. Is there ever a point in time where you've experienced an immense amount of like failure or challenge? Because it is a world of permanent uncertainty.
That's right.
So how do you adapt with that? And not just with entrepreneurship, because it really puts you in a different level. Way of thinking. So how do you adapt and how do you change?
It's such a great question because it can get so complicated. But what I've done throughout the years, especially with when we talk about teaching door to door, is we systemized everything. And one of the ways that we introduced everything, actually all my teachings follow one concept. That's the 4 stages of learning. And once you understand the 4 stages of learning, it eliminates all sorts of frustration if you just stick to the core tenets of the 4 levels of learning. It also kind of, it doesn't, if you ever get lost along the journey, it just snaps you back in because you just look at the 4 stages of learning, which is just a little staircase that goes like this. Maybe Brian will draw it in as I go in the camera. It's just a staircase.
So tell me a little bit more about it in case viewers here are not familiar with the 4 stages of learning.
So the 4 stages of learning starts like this. The very first stage of learning, and all learning follows this. So the first stage of learning is called unconscious incompetence, which roughly just means you don't know shit.
Right.
You don't know shit about shit.
You don't know that you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. You don't know anything about anything. So the best part about the stage 1 is just have fun. You've probably picked or fallen into some sort of skill, job, work, whatever field. And in this field, you don't know anything. So the most important part here is don't overanalyze it. Don't overstudy it. Don't try to dissect it. Just have fun. Have fun, explore. I'll give the perfect analogy of how I taught myself how to swim. I was on a trip with my girlfriend. We jumped off some cliffs with some friends. I almost drowned. Super fucking embarrassing. From that moment on, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to teach myself how to swim because we had a pool in my condo. I don't know shit about swimming. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Jump in that pool and just start splashing around. I kind of know how to like Asian swim.
Doggy paddle.
Asian guy knows how to Asian swim.
Doggy paddle.
Black guys, you're out there with me too. You know what it is. And it's like, you're kind of doing it, but you're not. But I want to do that in the beginning. So that's the first stage, unconscious incompetence. The second stage, after you've played enough and you kind of immerse yourself, is conscious incompetence. Now that you've played around, you know what you can't do.
Right.
In swimming, you know what I couldn't do? I couldn't float.
Right.
I couldn't float and I couldn't breathe properly. And so that's what you kind of want to figure out in stage 2, is you just want to figure out the fundamentals. Okay, Tim Ferriss calls this breaking down the essentials, where he said how he learned Japanese, he actually ended up understanding that I think 9 or 10 characters made up 300 different characters of the Japanese language. So when you can distill into those fundamentals, you just practice the fundamentals. Stage 2 is just practice the fundamentals. You'll get 1,000 times further by mastering fundamentals than trying to learn everything or trying to master the highlights. Kind of like these day and age where people are trying to launch 3-pointers from half court.
Right.
And mass bulk at Steph Curry. No, learn how to dribble, learn how to set your feet. You'll get 1,000 times better. Right. You do enough of those fundamentals, you're going to end up in stage 3, because stage 3 is conscious competence. You actually consciously can do a great job at this, but it takes almost all of your willpower, all of your brain, all of your focus, all of you being in this moment and applying all of the fundamentals and all the other extra little curricular tips, strategies that you picked along the way, but you can perform at a great level.
And I think that transition from level 2 to level 3 is that intellectual humility. You know that you don't know. So you're kind of humbling yourself, but if you want to get to that level 3, you gotta work. So there's effort to get to level 2 to level 3, massive amount of effort. Would you say that's where the most effort is?
It is, because you know why? Because in level 2, that's where everybody quits.
Yeah. They realize they can't do it.
The majority of everyone quits right there, because either they realize it takes too long, they realize they suck at it, they don't have the humility, or they're like, yeah, I'm not good. Screw this. I've just lost my interest. That's why everyone quits right there. That's why for most people, if you get past stage 2, you've already beat 80% of everybody. That's the beauty. But what's awaiting you at stage 3 is the longest process. It's the longest, the absolute longest, because that's the part where that's the entire game. That's where you learn all the tactics. Everything we talk about repetition, that's where execution, that's where we're talking about studying, that's where we're talking about the seeking out the new masters, your way of learning. Because stage 4 is unconscious competence, which is where you can deliver the greatest performances ever seen by that sport skill unconsciously, which is pretty much flow state.
Yeah.
At the highest level.
I would say that level 4 is mastery.
Mastery.
You're pretty much, you know
you got it.
There was the great Larry Bird, right?
Yes.
So he was doing free throws, and there was a commercial, and he was supposed to miss a free throw. And he couldn't do it. He's just like,
teaching the free throws, yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't do it just because mastery. He just had that rhythm. He just knew how to do it. Steph Curry, same thing.
That's right.
They just have this mastery. And I find that, would you agree that in level 3, that can be also frustrating because the growth is so incrementally small.
That's right.
It's the tiny focus on details that will help you get to mastery.
Yeah, level 3, you're playing more for repetition. You're playing more to deliver consistency. Is level 3, and what you're aiming for is peaks. You'll have consistency, and then you'll have an aha moment where you'll shoot up and you'll hit the next level. But those are much farther in between. You're absolutely right.
Right. That's amazing. So you've gone through this. You've learned a lot. Now we know that, and we'll get into this near the end. Is you own Boost CBD?
That's right.
An amazing story. But prior to Boost CBD, you're also a club owner.
That's right.
So you had a club, which is the dream for any guy. He's like, all of a sudden you're the man. So
That's
just
right.
Walk us through the life of a club owner in Calgary, Alberta.
So we bought our nightclub when I was 22. It was actually a month before my 23rd birthday. So I celebrated I used to throw the best birthday parties, which you and I actually had a lot in common. We throw the best birthday parties. They're wild, raucous. We get everybody there. But on my 23rd birthday we had it at my nightclub. And by I mean myself and my group, right? My investors who were best friends to this day, -1. That guy. So owning a nightclub it's as crazy and ruckus and rank as you would expect as a dude. Okay, it's all the fantasies lived out. We were previous to this talking about girls and attraction and pickup and whatnot. The ultimate cheat code is to own a club. You don't need to learn game if you own the club. You just need to show up, and there's going to have women all over you. So what I used to always say was a lot of my friends went to business school, engineering school for 4 years to get their degree. I also had a 4-year degree. Of how not to run a business. And so that was my 4-year degree.
Expensive. You probably spent the same amount of money.
It was six figures, yeah. It was an Ivy League.
Education there, right?
Yeah.
We should call you doctor.
Right?
You spend the same amount of money, right?
Dr. Rankster, yes.
So was owning that club as crazy? You said it's crazy. There's a lot of things. Is there something there? Like, walk me through an experience where it's like, I can't believe this is happening. Because in my world, I've been in investments for the last 22 years. I watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street. I looked to my wife. I'm like, do you remember when that happened? So I lived through that, right? People don't believe it. They're like, yeah, you lived through the Wolf of Wall Street type world. I'm like, just a tail end of it. So, in your world, like, walk me through an experience where we're like, I can't believe this. Donnie's completely bullshitting me.
Oh, I don't know. It's just so normal. Like,
you're desensitized to the debauchery of a club scene.
I remember my one birthday. This was the birthday that got me introduced to this club, and it was girls popping out of cakes and girls. The waitresses are all body painted, and we're literally throwing stacks of money because Make It Rain was just so fucking stupid. We're doing it, and people sweeping up the money after. I don't know.
I did that actually. I did that for my bachelor party.
Yeah,
I wanted to do it. I wanted to see if I can make it rain.
It's just normal.
But it was only American dollars though.
Yeah, well,
it's like it's like an expensive night.
Yeah. We went to the bank and exchanged it to I think it was
for me it was dollars. It was like this thick. I'm just throwing dollars.
Yeah, we did that with dollar bills for sure. We're not completely stupid, but the whole crew had stacks. So we was like, okay, when Make It Rain comes on, it's on. Yeah. So to us, it's normal, but to everyone at the party, I think that party had 100 to 200 people. Right. And it's raining money in there. Right. Insane. So that was normal. So can't say any point where I was like, oh, this is it. Because the one thing the nightclub did show me is it solidified that I could always create what I wanted to create. Because when I was younger, I just wanted to get paid to party. Kind of like the first entrepreneurial dream. I want to get paid to party. How do I get paid to party? End up in a nightclub. Okay, checked it off. I'm fucking amazing. Look, this is fucking fantastic. Right. I'm literally get paid to party. So the lifestyle that went with it was just as high octane, and all our friends got to experience it. Our core friendship from those 4 years, we still have the same core friends, whether they're married or not married or whatever, the support and the love. And that's where all new friends that meet our friends, they're always so blown away by how expansive the group is and how much love and support the entire group still has. And it really came from that. They used to call it Cheers. Opus was called Cheers because everybody knew your name. Right. Yeah. If you go there, you're leaving blackout because everybody knows you. Everyone's buying drinks.
Right. Now, do you find that owning a club gives you this innate ability to host? Of course, you got to host, right? But just be a people person. Bring people into your world, right?
I think it was the exact opposite. I think I was that before it started with the club, and why I got out of the club was because it was so fake. And that was my first kind of look into the dark side of the entertainment industry and the hospitality, specifically only in the nightclubs, where people would talk to me just because I'm the club owner or I'm the popular person. And I don't like that. I just didn't like that. I didn't know how to handle that when I was younger, and I didn't want to be a part of that. And so what I started doing was starting to retreat from that and shell up, kind of on such a micro scale of what I see from what do they call it? Celebrities. What that must be like, where you can't have a genuine conversation anymore because everybody kind of does it for either clout or something, or maybe they're setting you up so that later you can fall into their plan of some sort, some way, somehow. It really messed me up. It fucked up my ego to the point where at one point I said, I have to leave right now. I have to leave the city, leave this club, because this is not where I want to be anymore. I'm 27 at this point now, and I was like, I don't want to be a 30-year-old club owner. That's so cheesy. And I'm a glorified, like, I just sling drinks.
Right.
This is so stupid. This is nothing substantial. I want to do what at that time, and still are, some of my greatest role models are Phil Knight from Nike and Howard Schultz from Starbucks. That's who I aspire to be. I want to actually build a company that has an incredible brand, that has a mission, that competes on the world stage. Get me the fuck out of this club. And that's what started at the end of that.
So you get out of the club, you decide you're done, and you go into sales.
Yeah.
Right. So walk me through that, because that's an interesting story for the audience who doesn't know. You actually left Calgary.
Yeah.
And you went somewhere else.
I went to go knock doors and sell water heaters door to door.
Really different.
Very different. So I went from like the coolest guy in the city to like, now I'm in front of people's doors and tell me to go fuck myself, you scam artist. And I was like, oh God, what the hell? Okay. And so my whole thing after the nightclub was like, okay, now I want to be a billionaire.
Right.
Okay, I've fulfilled my childhood dreams. Now it's time to be a billionaire. That's how stupid I am. That's how ignorant I still am.
Right.
I think I have everything figured out. The person we bought the nightclub from, Preston, who's still my brother, my good friend, we stayed in contact as kind of as a confidant as well, asking for advice. But at one point he called me. He's like, hey, I have this opportunity out east. You should come join us. You still have to come and do the interview and all this, but if you're a good fit, you should come out. We can build this together. I believe in you. I flew out there. It was door-to-door sales, and it was incredible. They were walking door to door selling water heaters. Right. And if you can install the water heater, you get paid $100. And in my head, I was like, I could fucking do this. Come on now, let's go.
Water heater.
Yeah.
Right.
And the pitch was, come out here, learn how to sell, build sales teams, and then we can build our own company. Right. Boom. Hit all my check boxes of what I want to do next. Build a company, be a billionaire. Check, sign me up. But really, I was so blessed that my partners back home, we knew the club was winding down. I had this opportunity. I asked them, hey, I have this opportunity. Can I go? They said, yep, go. We'll handle everything back here.
How long were you gone?
I left for 5 years. The club sold a year later. But at that time, the club had taken its role. It was on a downward spiral. It was a lot of stress at that time.
Yeah, it's very cyclical in nature, that industry.
Yeah, we were at the bottom of the lifespan there. But my partners, just bless their soul. I just love them so much. They said, yep, go. We'll handle everything. So they let me go chase this new opportunity while they wrapped up the hardships in the day-to-day still. So I'm just very blessed and lucky. That's another thing. I'm very lucky that incredible people through my life.
You got your back.
Got my back. And so I went out to Ontario to go learn how to knock doors, trying to become a billionaire. And that's where I learned this is the hardest shit in the world. Knocking doors in a completely different part of the planet where you don't know anybody, you're about to get your ass handed to you real quick.
You can't even leverage relationships and call people, hey, look, I'm selling this. You guys know anybody? This is from scratch.
It's now down to your raw skills.
Right.
Your raw skills, your grit, your determination, your personality. What do you got? You're in the jungle.
Mm-hmm. So that raw skill also translate, of course, all entrepreneurs have that. And I think you and I talk about this all the time. I would say it's sales.
Yes.
Right? And so you said that you started training a sales team.
That's right.
Right. When you're going through training a sales team, is there a point in time where you're like, man, why don't you just get this? Because one of the hardest things is try to replicate yourself. Mm-hmm. And so here you're trying to replicate yourself. Like, how do you overcome when you know you have this technical ability and you want to bestow this on somebody, but they're struggling to attain that or get that? Like, how do you build a team, essentially, what I'm saying?
It's such a good question, because once again, it's such a complicated process. So what I always try and do is distill it down to these core tenets and principles that we can work off of. For me, luckily, I was not a good salesperson. I thought I was a good salesperson because I'm charismatic and just enjoyable to be around.
Right.
Charismatic, got a lot of energy. So I was in retail. Turns out retail's a piece of cake.
Right.
You sure can sell when you're the owner of the club. That's pretty easy too. But when you're in the jungle, I was shit. So I had to learn how to sell. And so my big thing is I landed in a city that I just hated, and I need to get out of that city so bad. So that was my big why. it was a why that was so big that it transcended anything else. It wasn't about money, billionaire status, descent. It's I had to get the fuck out of this city because it was the hillbilly asshole of Canada. Sorry, Kitchener. And
oh, so this was in Kitchener.
oh god, it's just terrible.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
At that period of my life. So I was like, okay, no matter what, I have to leave. And
Right.
so to answer your question, how do we train people? It's not about sales. It's about what you want first and foremost. What's your why? It's the same place I start with everything, whether you're in a bad relationship, whether you're stuck in your place in life, whether it's trying to learn sales, what's the why? If I can't figure out your why, this is going to be 10 times harder. Right. But if I can figure out that your why is because you're in a basement suite with your girlfriend and you want to get your wifey deserves more and you want to get out. Or maybe it's because your entire life, your family's been shit and you fucking hate your stepdad. He's a motherfucking asshole and I'll never be like him. My mom needs more than this. Okay, that's why we need to learn sales.
Right.
So our narrative is going to be, we're going to pin we're going to pin emotionally to what that is and what it's going to look like when we're out of there. Right. The second part of sales is, okay, once we understand that, your why, now we're going to give you the structure. The structure is the 4 levels of learning. Step 1, you're not going to know shit. Get out there. Here's a piece of paper, say these words. If you can't come back and say these words, then, we're going to keep doing this till you know these words. Right. So we're going to really micro down it to the most easily digestible bits of information. And as you get to the next step of learning, I'm going to help you learn what you need to learn in that stage. So in the first stage, I just need you to learn how to play. I need you to learn how to play without getting emotionally involved. Like, I suck, I can't do this. Because when it comes to that, I'm going to go mentally to figure out why those are. And I'm either going to inspire you, I'm going to kick you in the ass, or I'm going to get closer to you and actually coach you. It's the 3 tenets of the mind. It's the primary causes of the mind. I don't want to get into that too much. It's going to be a lot to talk about. Yeah. But as we're going to talk about coaches, the next level, each level, we're going to have a different way of coaching you, of bringing out the best in you, giving you space to fail so you fail safely, understanding that if I'm your coach, I'm not going to be nice to you.
You
I'm your surrogate Asian father.
You mentioned a great point about coaches, and unless you're a salesperson, you really appreciate the value of having a coach, aka a mentor.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that you need a mentor or coach to accelerate your learning to get you where you need to be. I think any successful person has had someone like you who they've met along the way who said, I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's how you do it. Just follow what I'm talking about and continue, multiply your effort, and your effort's going to increase results or, translate to some type of results. Has there been 3 people, like at least 3 people in your life that you would call them mentors? And like, how have they impacted your life? Because you've been a mentor for a lot of different people. So who are the mentors who have helped refine Mr. Donny Wong in front of me?
Now, I want to make sure that we discern the difference between mentors and role models. Because role models are the people who are around us, who are where we want to be and are living by the principles that we aspire to. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
My mentors who are there to literally take me along the way, give me the teachings, and give me the candid feedback. Chapter 1 of Winning.
Great book.
Candor.
Jack Welch, yeah.
The ones who really dug deep and went through the 4 stages of learning for me, went and really handled my arrogance, my ego, my psyche, my weaknesses, and took me through and taught me was the biggest one was Preston. The one who we bought the club with, who I went out there.
Your friend.
My friend, my brother. He was an empathetic leader. That was his strength. He's just like yourself. His empathy was through the roof. His EQ was through the roof. And so he learned how to help my raging animal, tame my raging animal, and teach me through repetition, through relationships, and teach me and bring me up through this through this jungle of entrepreneurship. Another mentor, a mentor. I would say that's the biggest one right now that comes to my mind.
Man, that's big. If Preston's watching this right now, the fact that he is the only guy you could think of as your mentor that's impacted your life, you know what? That's amazing you have that relationship. The other thing that I've always noticed that, you could find a mentor. I've found that 3 ways to find mentorship is 1, you go out and find someone who could help mentor you. Secondly, surprisingly, go on YouTube.
Yep.
Read a book, right? Go on YouTube, read a book. And then the third one is, pay. pay for mentorship.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
For your second one, because when I was out in this city, remember I told you I landed in the city, I sold the club, ended up in the city, I was all by myself. I was in a place where I was like, oh, I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to learn the sales stuff quickly.
Right.
And I need to become, and the only way to leave this city is to learn sales, train, replicate myself, build a sales team, take over the sales office. I had no mentors other than Preston. So I went on YouTube. And for years straight, all I did was I started watching interviews with the people who are the best at their craft historically, and I'd only watch the best of the best.
So who are you watching? Like
Jay-Z, Warren Buffett, Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Right.
I'd also watch people who were at the time when they were conducting their opus, which opus definition is like the greatest collection of your performances all in one. So I'd watch Lil Wayne during when he recorded Carter 3. There's a documentary about that. I watched Ayrton Senna, right? When these are the titans, the ultimate. I watched tons of Oprah during their struggle. You know, Tony Robbins there as well. But those were my mentors. And what I actually found out by watching these videos constantly, these interviews, was that excellence, the principles, they're all the same. They were all the foundations of principles. And so when I start, and I would just record, I just write in my notebooks nonstop. What are they saying? This quote. What are they doing? How'd they answer this question? What's going on in their life? Right. And so I have 10 years of notebooks at home. And so those have been distilled into how I coach now. But those were my mentors, was YouTube and watching these what would you call them? Outliers over and over and over again. And that's why I distilled all the foundations of excellence, and taking those, that's how we apply them to, okay, these are now my foundations. I'm just going to practice these foundations. The rest will take care of itself.
Right.
If I take these foundations of excellence and apply them with the 4 stages of learning, with whatever skill I'm learning. So now I know how to learn, and I'm learning with the foundations of excellence. Let's fucking go.
So now you're finding these mentors. You eventually you move from Calgary to Kitchener or Ontario, right? You're there for a couple of years. What made you come back to Calgary?
So after Kitchener, I got the call to open up the very first office that was outside of Ontario. Okay. So they called me to expand out there. We broke a ton of records out there. We opened up another office, and then I got a chance to move to Toronto. I actually ended up being, I'm almost sure, the highest revenue generating manager that came up through the recruiting. Extremely successful. We had, out of the company's top 10 highest selling sales agents, I think we had 7. We had the top 3 highest producing sales leaders, as well as we had the highest producing offices with the lowest cost, the lowest complaints, everything across the board. And so from that, when we finished our time there at that group, when I finished my stint 5 years later, I said, you know what? I'm ready to just go start my own thing now. I want to continue on my dream about building my own company, because I see what you guys are doing. It still doesn't serve at the level I want to serve. More importantly, I want my own say, ego coming back up. So I left and I said, okay, what am I going to start? And at that time I was like, okay, I'm ready to go anywhere. I'll go to Germany. I don't care. But my first plane ticket, I flew down to Dallas, Texas to meet my friend who was knocking doors, but he was selling car repair from hail damage. Why? Because the rips were huge, thousands of dollars per car, and they were doing this incredible service. Because if a hailstorm comes, blast your car, they'll come fix it for free. Blah 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 blah. Right? So it's an amazing pitch, amazing value prop. I went down there, I was like, this is nothing. I just came from the battlegrounds of Ontario selling water heaters and furnaces. Fuck this. Yeah. This is amazing.
Like this, here's a deal on a silver platter.
On a silver platter with like a...
You're just waiting for hail to come down.
Yeah, with a battle-hardened door-to-door guy, right? So this made sense. So I went down there, talked to my friends, like, hey, let's start this in Calgary, because Calgary turns out is the hail capital of Canada.
Interesting.
So we came up here and I was like, instead of doing cars, let's do roofs. Okay, let's fix roofs, because there's an even higher ticket item. And I think there's like the mechanics behind it worked a lot better. We could really hire out the tech teams, the roofers, to do it all. So up here, my good friend and I, we started this company called Wonder Dent. Okay. It was my first foray into branding. We had this cool logo, spent way too much. We had the uniforms, everything. I just found the uniforms again. They're our pride and joy. And we closed a few accounts. No hail that year. No hail the year after. No hail the year after. I just had our first hailstorm here in Calgary. Right. Now it's 4th year since I've been back. Right. So, but that's not why we stopped. At the same time, I actually got to work with one of my best friends back from the club years. He had opened up a successful vape shop. And he opened up a few of them. So now it's becoming a brand. It's becoming not a franchise, because if we're going to get technical, it wasn't a franchise. But what I said was, this would be my second mentor. When I came back to work with my best friends, because I was like, man, he built something. He built a type of business that I'm the most scared of. I was always taught, would you rather sell 1,000 things for, small profits? Or would you rather learn to master selling one thing for massive profits? I'm always about the second.
Right.
I want huge profits, lower products, so that I can just push those out.
It's like that line, the Bruce Lee says, don't fear the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks, fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo. And I'm all about that. I'm a repetition guy.
Absolutely.
And so when I got to the vape shop, it's like, I want to learn inventory. I want to learn how you control inventory. I want to know how you turn inventory. I want to know what you're doing here.
So why vape? Why vape?
I think he saw an opportunity in the market, but what ended up happening was that vape at that time was a fringe market where it wasn't quite legal. It was in the gray area, but it wasn't like, they're not going to kick your door down and raid you.
And so this transitions into the industry we see today.
Bingo.
Right?
Where they weren't sure, it wasn't regulated, but the results were so overwhelming that eventually it was clear that vaping is safer than smoking a cigarette.
Now you own Boost CBD.
That's right.
So here's your journey. You start off as a club owner. Actually, no, you start off as the son of a photographer.
That's right.
Entrepreneur. Go into owning a club. Go over to Ontario. Start selling water heaters. Then you go to Denver. Texas, right? And then from there, you come back and start getting into the hail damage business here. The economy or the weather is not, suitable for your business at the time. So you get into vape. So now you're completely diversified in so many different things.
And this is where it all comes full circle.
Okay.
This is where it all comes full circle. We can actually, by the end of this episode, when the audience is listening, they're like, this is the main point of everything we're talking about today. It all comes full circle because when I first moved back, I'm working in this vape shop and I'm meeting this girl. Okay. We talked about being club owners and being, good looking guys that can present themselves, and we're not shy guys.
Right.
We can do what we do. We're great guys. We're fun to be around, and we're cute, and we're charismatic. Hey, I meet this one girl. I actually met her a few years ago at one of my buddy's weddings. Come back, I meet her. And so at the time, she's very single as well. She's a very good-looking girl. She's a wild child, okay, fiery. We get together, and it's like the super crazy single entrepreneur guy and the fiery girl. Okay, right. We're getting drunk. We get super drunk one night. I break my hand. Okay. And so what actually happened was, because of all these events, me quitting Toronto, deciding to move back anywhere, ended up maybe let's do hail. Okay, I think this will work in Calgary. Oh, let's move back to Calgary. I've been on the road for 5 years. If I'm going to go anywhere, let's go back home. I moved back home. My sister passes away 2 weeks later.
Wow.
I land, 2 weeks later, she passes away. I would have missed it if I was back out east. I just so happened to be back home with my family, was at her bedside. It was such a blessing. The day we buried her, and that night, this is the first death in our entire family, right? Imagine the turmoil, the emotional wreck that you're in that you don't even know you're in. That night, I'm out drinking with my cousins. And I ended up back with this girl. We ended up back like at her house or something. We're both just blackout. I break my hand by punching an elevator that night.
Okay.
I've never broken a hand, bone in my life. I've never been stung by a bee. So I wake up the next morning back in my...
First of all, let's establish that the elevator deserved it. He was staring at your girl,
He owed me money.
That's right. Okay. You
got to do what you got to do. Okay. Yeah. I beat him like he owed me money. So the next morning, I'm back in my best friend's basement, who took me in, him and his wife at the time. I wake up from my hazy drinking. My right hand, I'm a sales guy, is stuck. My dominant hand stuck between two ice packs. I lift up my hand. I can't move it. 48 hours later, I'm in the ER, right? Or sorry, the hospital. They look at it like, yeah, you broke your hand. Here's your cast. And I left, and it was the first time in my entire life I've ever been mad at myself, disappointed with myself. It's like, you told the world that you're going to start a business, that you're going to show those billionaires in Toronto how you were going to do it. You're going to prove them wrong. And then you come back and you break your hand. You're a sales guy. You can't even write deals. What the fuck are you doing? Right. And it was the first time I was like, you need to get serious. it's time to get serious. So the next morning, you know, if anyone's ever broken a bone, it's not when you break your bone, it doesn't hurt. It's the weeks after, right?
The throbbing
feeling,
yeah.
and you can't even move your bone. But my best friend who I was living with, shout out with Diamonds, he goes, hey, smoke this. I'm not a big weed smoker, and especially not in the daytime. I can't do anything. He's like, no, don't worry. It's CBD. It's all can get you high. It's going to take the pain away. I'm like, that's exactly what a guy like you would say to get me high in the middle of the fucking day. So I don't believe him. He's like, no, trust me, actually. So and of course he puts in a bong. So I'm like, okay. I can, if I get too high, I'll just sleep one day. Not my style, whatever. I smoke this CBD plant. The pain is gone. The pain goes away. I'm not high. I am fucking blown away. For those who are wondering why I won't take aspirin or whatever T3s at time, I don't like doing that stuff. I'm more of like the natural type of way, right? Same with hangovers. You'll never see me, I'll just work a hangover. A lot of natural people don't know what I'm talking about. But that CBD changed everything. I was like, holy shit, I can smoke cannabis, not get high, and now I can do my work. This is the closest thing to a superpower ever. That happened in about February. So 6 weeks later, my hand is fully healed and it's done. So don't pay much to think about CBD, but it's stuck in my mind. I start thinking, how? Because I've always wanted to use cannabis and utilize it for performance, because I see what rappers do and I see what artists can do. You know, they're the
it
way
enhances them.
It enhances them, or it brings out your artistry, or it makes you. A lot of people say it makes me more relaxed. Never happened with you. It's just anxiety with me. But I was like, this plant I like. This is more from my body chemistry. So I didn't pay much mind to it. I just kind of started looking into it, but figuring out what it was. Fast forward from February, let's just say 8 months, 9 months. Now it's in, I think, about October, November. We're in the vape shop. All of a sudden, one day, a salesman comes in. I love salesmen. I love it. We love sales guys. This guy walks in. He talks to my good friend, who's the owner. He goes, "Hey, I have this. It's a CBD vape juice, vape liquid." My friend has no idea what to do with it because he's a heavy smoker, heavy cannabis user. He's like, "What's CBD?" At this point, still, Canada has not legalized cannabis yet. They're just kind of just like rumors still. He didn't know what to use with CBD. The guy kind of gave him a spiel, and as I'm listening to spiel, I'm like, "You don't know what CBD is either. You think this is your next. You think this is your next. This is your next meal ticket. This is your hail company. You think you're gonna get rich off this." Right. In my head, I'm like, I know exactly what this is gonna be. Why I know exactly what to do is because my time in the vape shop, we helped so many people quit smoking because of the way vape, it's the most effective device alternative to cigarette smoke. It's a harm reduction device, where at least it gets rid of all the toxins in the cigarette. But man, you would not believe how many people we help quit smoking cigarettes. And I looked at this vape CBD liquid and I was like, I know exactly what that can do. I've been studying CBD for months. I know it's going to help with pain. I know it's going to help with anxiety. I know it's going to help with sleep. I know all these things because I've been using vape. I know all the devices. I know the technology. I know the delivery method, and I've been using CBD. So they failed because they didn't know what the fuck to do with it. But I instantly knew, and it just so happened one of my best friends had just finished cancer treatment. Just finished it. Rang the bell at the Tom Baker Center. Like, okay, you beat it. Good job. Doctor tells him, hey, but good friend, the next 2 weeks is actually the hardest. You're going to feel the sickest. You're going to have the most pain during the next 2 weeks. So while he's going through it, I just call him, check him up. Hey, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm so sick. I can't sleep. The nausea is so crazy. They're giving me the pills that they give for pregnant women who are in who have the worst sickness. And I said, hey, I have this thing. And I'm going to say his name. He was my best friend, John. We lost him earlier this year as well. And I said, hey, I have this. It's called CBD. He doesn't smoke weed at all. He doesn't vape. I was like, but this is what it does. Do you want me to bring it over? And he said, Donny, I'll try anything. Set him up, rip across the city, drop it off at him. Here, smoke this, vape it, show him, inhales it. And we're just talking. I was like, John, how do you feel? He goes, the nausea's gone. He's like, the nausea's completely gone. And I'm like, holy shit. I was like, okay, well.
So it worked. Worked for him.
It completely worked.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, you know what? Just keep it for now. Do what you want to do with it. But I recommend you hit it before bed. I'll talk to you in the morning. I call him the next morning. Hey, John, how you feeling? He goes, Donny, last night was the first night I slept well in months. And from that moment on, I said, if I can do this for my best friend, I want to do this for as many people on the planet as possible. I need to use all the last 15 years of my life, all the entrepreneurial, all the sales, all the branding, everything I said, and I have to figure out how to build a company out of CBD. Cannabis wasn't even legal yet. And I was like, I'm going to take the biggest fucking risk ever. Right. And from that point on, I was like, Kate, this has to be. So I called my other partner. I was like, we have to shut Wonder Dent down. Right. It's a distraction. We're not going to be able to make this a success. There's no fucking hail. There's no hail. Shut this bitch down. Yeah. And we shut it down. Bless him as well. He knew. He's like, oh yeah, this is stupid. And from that point on, I was like, I have to make the CBD work. And that's what came full fucking circle. It was all of those stories,
all the trials, the tribulations, the lessons, the mentors, the traveling back and forth, brings you to a point in time in your life where you can actually say, hey, look, you started off your entrepreneurial journey with a very selfish desire. I want to make $1 million. I want to be the cool guy.
Yeah.
To the entrepreneur that people want to be, that entrepreneur who wants to help as many people, right? Like, how does that make you feel listening to that entire story to say, holy crap? And imagine the next couple of years moving forward.
Again, it feels normal to me, but I think if anyone is out there and is to take any sort of teachings from this, and it would be my mantra, which is find your flow. Okay. And find your flow really just means that, hey, find something you love and explore that with all your might. You know, Kobe calls it too. It's a Mamba mentality, right? Some people call it destiny, but I call it flow. And in life, it's really enriching when you find something that you love and you just pursue that, because the riches that come with it are more than money. The relationships that you'll develop are more genuine. Your path, your determination, your prerogative, your hero's journey comes full circle, because you were chasing exactly what you wanted to do, exactly what you wanted to do with your 90 years on this earth. And when you land on it, it's so cheesy, but it's like, you'll never work a day in your life again. CBD is the hardest journey I've ever been on. It's so hard. It wasn't legalized for a long time. Nobody knew what it was. All my friends are pot smokers. I had to explain what CBD, I had to learn all the science. I had to figure out how to even make the products. I had to find CBD. I had to find somebody to make this thing. I had to know every part about it. It was so fucking hard. It's still hard, but I know this is like what I want to do. If I could do this for my best friend, I know we can do this on a bigger scale.
You know, you talk about earlier on, we talked about finding your why, right? And what I'm hearing is that you found your why. And it was accelerated with the passing of your friend, which leads us to the very first 2 minutes of this interview, which is about legacy.
That's right.
You're continuing the legacy of your friend. You know, it's interesting, Donny. What I admire about you most is this amazing mindset of humility, and this mindset of constant growth. You know, I want you to just explain to me what is going through your mind in this picture, because this is a picture 2016, I think, or and this is on Instagram. I found it, and it says, "Hustler's mindset that I had to make to succeed." What are you thinking? This is a pretty intense picture here.
Yeah, that's the first checkpoint. That's the first checkpoint when I went from making money and be rich to no. There's fundamentals to this, and there's fundamentals, and it's not about getting rich. It's actually, you need to get your mindset right to be able to do this properly and to do this for a long term and to do something bigger. And so that's what Boost really, that was kind of like the launch of Boost. I still have videos on my phone. I've documented everything. So when I first left Calgary, I didn't know what to do. I wrote it all down. The entire Boost journey, I've videotaped. It's all my phone.
That's amazing.
That right there, what you're talking about, what you're asking about, was when I had enough where I want to share the bridges I crossed that really shifted my mentality from ego, from inward looking, to outward looking, to, hey, you get these principles down and everything makes more sense, right? The very first one is the most important one. How you make your money is more important than, what does it say?
Your mindset. So it says here, hustler mindsets that I had to make to succeed.
Yeah, it says, how you make your money is more important than how much.
Yeah.
That was so important, because I've made money.
Do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
Yeah,
So,
I think in this day, and sorry, I just want to slip this real quick. A lot of people these days, when they don't want to pursue their passion, their idea, is because they're scared. They always tell me, they say, "Well, how do I make money?" Wrong answer. Making money is just another set of principles. When applied into that little 4 levels of learning, you're going to learn how to make money. At this day and age, you can make money doing anything. It's not about how much money you make; it's how you make your money. Do you want to make your money doing your favorite thing in the world? Or do you want to slave away just to get the paycheck and then not pursue that thing?
Love it. You know, how you make your money is really important, but it's also why you make your money.
Exactly.
So
why.
That's great. You know, we touch on so many different things in this interview. You talked about legacy. We talked about the ways you learn. We talked about the hero's journey and actually seeing the hero's journey just unfold in front of us to the point in time where, you know, it sounds like you're just at this peace. And I love this energy that I get from this constant positivity. You know, speaking of positivity, we're now going to enter the Rise round. Perfect. So the Rise round is I'm just going to ask you as many questions as I can in a very short amount of time, and you have to answer it with your very first instinct, right? So we're going to try to go through this as fast as we can.
Is it a one-word answer?
You could elaborate, but just not a long-winded story.
Got it.
So, you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, let's go. As a fellow comic book geek, who's the greatest superhero and why?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Why?
Because he's super strong. You can't hit him, and he just doesn't take anything seriously.
I like that. I like the last part. So if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? You already told us this.
Positivity. But if I was a superhero,
what would your name be?
Oh,
Captain Positive.
I don't know. Good. It would be Donny the Destroyer.
Awesome. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant when he was alive, and Jordan walk into a room and ask you to resolve a debate. Who is the GOAT?
Play for it. Play for it. You three get on the court. Play for
it. Love it. Okay.
And Jordan.
At their prime though, because Jordan is an old man now, right? So at their prime.
Well, this is
hypothetical.
If they're gonna play for it, Jordan will win.
Okay, good. So you know what? If you could have a beer with one person, living or dead, who would it be? Because I know you like beer. Who would it be?
Living or dead?
Living or dead, man.
Probably. Oh shit. Probably Elon.
Interesting. Now, if you ask this person one question, what question would you ask them?
That's a good one.
Elon's sitting there in his awkward way.
Yeah.
Right.
When he talks like this. Elon, the one question I would ask you is, oh, damn, I don't know. damn, that's a good question.
Okay.
Damn.
So we'll get back to that at some point in time.
I'm just burning daylight here.
Okay. So your girlfriend walks home and says that this shirt makes her ask you, does this shirt make me look fat? Do you tell her the truth or do you lie?
I mean, the shirt makes you look skinny because everything makes you look skinny.
Okay.
Skinny pea head.
That's good. You're a sales guy. So if you're on a deserted island, what's one thing you can't live without?
Fire.
You know, it's interesting. I was watching an interview with Emma Stone and she said, one thing I can't live without is the boat that got me here, or a boat that's going to help me get out.
Yeah, she's dead.
Okay. If you could fly anywhere in the world to have that one drink, where would it be? With Elon.
Singapore.
Oh, nice. Okay. If you have one business mind to partner with, who would it be and why?
One business mind to partner with.
Yeah, one person, whether it's Steve Jobs when he was alive, Elon, whoever it might be. Warren Buffett.
Phil Knight.
Interesting. Nike. Good. Okay. Why do you think people are not living up to their potential? What's really missing?
Because they're entitled.
2 more questions. If you had 60 seconds with your 15-year-old self, what words of wisdom would you tell him?
You must be financially literate. No matter what you do, everything else you're going to be just fine. But the one thing, if you really want to change the course of your destiny, you must be financially literate.
Awesome. And Donny, last question here is, what are you currently working on right now that you want to tell all the viewers here listening to you today? And how could we find you?
Guys, this is your chance to really look at a Canadian entrepreneur that's going to change the way that we see supplements. Boost CBD, we make cannabis products for people who don't like getting high, specifically using CBD for performance and recovery. If you guys haven't seen yet, check us out at www.boost.ca. Again, that's boost.ca. That's Boost with 3 O's. We are trying to change the entire landscape. Much like in the olden days when sailors from the UK discovered scurvy and their teeth would fall out of their mouth, and that's why they discovered vitamin C, which launched the entire start of the human supplements and nutrition. CBD is going to be the next super supplement. Okay, it's absolutely incredible. I don't want to get too long-winded. Check us out and what we're doing. Also, check us out at Taking Lunch Money. That is my, that's where I actually narrate everything that we're doing with performance and flow states. I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes. You can see very candid of my failures. They're all written on there. And of course, the successes. That's where you can reach me. I'm complete open book. Come check us out. It's a crazy adventure.
Awesome, Donny. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out. We have Donny Wong here from here at Ready, Set, Rise. If you like what you watched, if you like the stuff that you heard, feel free to subscribe, click like, make a comment, connect with Donny. We got some great people coming in. And we're going to have more and more amazing people, real individuals sharing excellence. So we're going to try to create this community here. And, you know, again, Donny, thank you so much. Thank you. Guys, if you're out there, you know, think big, live brave, be bold, and be kind to yourselves. All the best. Peace.